Instant Mood Improver is recorded on Bunurong country. I pay my respects to local elders past, present and emerging and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to any mob who may be listening today.
Put a pep in your step, turn your frown upside down, make it more fun to be around. Instant Mood Improver. Instant Mood Improver. Instant Mood Improver. The songs that make you feel happy again.
Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Instant Mood Improver, the podcast all about the songs that turn your frown upside down, put a pep in your step and make life on this dangerous floating rock just a little bit more tolerable, if only for 3 minutes. I am here today with your guest, Tom from the Menzingers. Tom, how are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing swell, talking to one of my personal favorite punk rock bands. So that's never a bad thing.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Now, the purpose of this show, if you're unaware, is to talk to you about a song that instantly improves your mood, makes you feel better about existence, etc. So what is a song that when you hear it immediately makes you feel joy?
There's a song, it's an instrumental song by an electronic artist called Aphex Twin, and the name of the song is Flim. And anytime that song plays, anytime I hear it, actually also in the inverse, anytime that I need to feel better, I'll put it on. Or anytime that I'm feeling that, like, walk home from the bar, you know, like, I need to hear this kind of thing. And I put that song out.
That's also, it's really interesting answer too from a punk rock frontman. It's and this is one of the things I'm finding doing this show is that the people's relationship with music and with the music that makes them happy doesn't always sit with the music that they personally write or perform. What is it about this song that you think speaks to the inner joy inside of you?
That's a great question. There's so many, places to go with that. A lot of times people, at least a lot of times for me, the music that I'll really, really love has some type of nostalgic subconscious base to it. Like, okay, I heard this song at this point in my life. It reminds me of that. This song reminds me of this person, or these lyrics remind me of a story or an emotion that I have. And it's, I'm kind of shooting myself in the fucking foot because I picked a song that has no lyrics. But that song in particular, I couldn't tell you about the music theory of the way that the chords change or the way that the rhythm track, like ostensibly the drum track, is a little bit more sporadic and has a lot of like fills and different things that go on it. But that way that those chords move triggers something for me in my life, and hearing the melody and the way they go over it just really hits me. So I think that maybe it's a perfect combination of actually having some, who knows, spiritual, learned, whatever the fuck, relationship with that actual melody and the harmony and the chords. But also that song at the points in my life that I had first heard it and chose to listen to it also remind me of that way. So maybe I told myself that story and now I believe it. But I would make the argument with no basis of fact or explanation that it's objectively an absolutely beautiful and incredible song.
It is a beautiful and incredible song. I have in fact heard it, which isn't always the case when I'm talking to people. But I like listening to people discuss the music that makes them happy. Hence, I started the podcast. But I am particularly interested in knowing if the song that you've chosen inspired joy with you the moment you heard it for the first time.
It did. Interestingly, actually, the first time that I heard it was a cover of the song, I think. There's a jazz band called the Bad Plus. It's 3 members, a upright bass player, a drummer, and a piano player, and they make incredible music. They have incredible originals, but they do very, very interesting covers. They have a cover song. They do it of Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and they take those like minor sounding chords, that progression, that dun 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 dun, and in the middle of it they flip it to like the relative major, if that's exactly what it is. But it's like, bah, I'm not going to embarrass myself on your podcast with it, but they flip it, and it's such like a trippy, cool idea. And it was introduced to me by a person who I respect their musical ability so much, and they taught me so much about so many bands outside of punk rock. So I listened to that band over and over again, and I got this record, and their cover of Flim was on it. And I'd first heard that and the way they rolled through the pianos, and I remember instantly thinking, wow, this is beautiful and incredible. And then I remember hearing the melody again, but in the Aphex Twin version of the song. So yeah, instantly it was not only did I like the song, but I was super fucking stoked to hear like another version of it. So yeah, and definitely instantly inspired joy in that regard.
That's awesome. How important do you think music is in maintaining your sense of happiness and your sense of place in the world? Do you find that it's the thing that does that for you?
For me personally, yeah. Absolutely. There's not like a couple minutes that go by where I'm not harping on some kind of rhythm or melody, or taking a situation and describing it within song to the point where it annoys the fuck out of the people around me. It definitely, there is something to the repetition and the vibration of the, notes and harmony that are incredibly important to me. It's like, oh my God, dude, I heard a fucking great quote. Hold on, let me think of it. Someone said that art is decorating space and music is decorating time. I thought that was a really fucking cool quote, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Do you find that music is the entry point for a lot of your memories too, and particularly a lot of your happy memories? When you're trying to place yourself back in your life, it's always the sound of the moment that hits you first, and you memorize that through what songs were popular or whatnot at the time.
Not necessarily, no. I especially now in the age of access to all music from all times, a friend of mine has a kid that are getting kind of older, and they don't have a grasp of era of music the same way that we did. I'm assuming you're close in age to me, where you have like 60s, 70s, 80s. Like this kid doesn't know the difference between the Beatles, Nirvana, Green Day, the Cranberries, like whatever. They all exist in like a world of a box that you can get the songs from, or that, my parents played for me. So it's not the same, like, on a big macro scale like that for them. But so for me, the main thing the thing that triggers memories the deepest is definitely smell, which I always find it's hard to like talk about smell in like articulate or poetic way. But yeah, there's sometimes you smell something and you're like, oh, someone here is using the chemical that the kitchen I worked at when I was 16 cleaned with. Or, oh, somebody's wearing the same perfume that my first girlfriend had. Or this is the smell of my grandma's house, X spice mixed with some other spice, like that kind. Those things hit me the deepest, I would say.
That's awesome. Now, a fun thing to ask people who are musicians on this podcast is, has anyone ever told you that your music or a song you've written inspires joy in them?
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to where that we hear that all the fucking time, and it's fantastic. It's very, very cool. A lot of people frame it in a way where it's helped them. The deepest ones are when someone frames it in a way that our music has helped them get through a difficult time. So, that's an incredibly beautiful thing. And yeah, there's so many times where people have said something like that.
That's awesome. Have you found that there's a particular song that people seem to reference most frequently, or is it kind of people choosing different songs from all across your catalog?
There's an interesting phenomena that seems to happen where we have songs that are more popular than others that the crowd responds to more, or that have more streams on music platforms or whatever the fuck. But there are some songs that aren't as popular or aren't as the response isn't as big when we play them live, but it seems to resonate. They seem to resonate deeper with certain groups of people. So we have songs like Timetables and Casey, and people talk to me about a song called Boy Blue that like hit them hard, that aren't necessarily our biggest popular songs, but those people are more vocal and seemingly more emotionally expressive about them than others. So yeah, I think that's an interesting kind of aspect of those songs.
It is indeed. Now, we are going to let you go in a moment. Before we do, though, you have a new record coming out today called Some of It Was True. If you had to choose one song off this record that you think would make people happy and inspire joy, what song would it be?
Damn, dog, picked the wrong record. Well, let me think. I don't know. There's a bittersweet aspect to feeling happy when hearing a sad song. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's brought that up on your podcast before. There's a song on the record called Ultraviolet that I think is going to be, I wouldn't call it a sleeper hit, but I think it's going to be one of those songs that resonates deeply with people that they will put on when they want to feel happy, even though it's not the happiest song.
That is a consistent point of discussion on this podcast. You are correct. And that's what makes it good. A song that inspires joy does not have to be a happy song. It can be absolutely anything because human beings are strange creatures.
Yes, we are. Infinitely.
Infinitely strange. Well, thank you, Tom, for appearing on the podcast today. It has been an absolute joy to talk to you. I wasn't lying when I called you one of my favorite punk rock bands. You are indeed.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll tell you something in a moment when we sound off. But before I do, make sure you go out there, everybody, and listen to the 7th studio album by the Menzingers. It is called Some of It Was True, and it's out on Epitaph Records today, which is October 13. And if you happen to get the chance to see this band live, make sure you sing Casey as loud as you fucking can at the top of your lungs and enjoy the wonderful connective power of live music, which will definitely bring you joy. We'll leave you now with Aphex Twin Flim.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. That was great. That's a great concept for a podcast. That's very cool.
Thank you. It's new. I'm going to launch next month. I'm just banking episodes.
Oh, nice.
So this will be timely in the sense that your record will be out and people will be able to go and check it out immediately. I've been thinking about it for a couple of years, and it popped up in an interview one day. It went well, and I went, you know what? This is actually a good idea. So I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm glad there's so many things that people think about literally for years and don't jump into it. I'm really glad you did.
That brings to a close episode 9 of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast with Tom May of the Menzingers. A huge shout out to Tom for appearing on the show today. The Menzingers' new record, Some of It Was True, is out now on Epitaph Records. The band have also just announced a headline tour of Australia and New Zealand in August. Tickets are on sale for that now. Head to SBN Presents and Whammy Bar for further details. If you enjoyed my discussion with Tom, I'd appreciate it if you left a positive review or gave me a follow on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'll leave you now, as is tradition, with the sound of Tom's choice of Instant Mood Improver, Flim by Aphex Twin, as well as a song by the Menzingers that inspires joy in me, Bad Catholics, and the absolute Menzingers classic, Casey.